In our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tɪᴜrūબ્ᴜ should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Oᴘᴇyēmi Akinyode as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you, roommates, as we discuss the situations.
Between October 2024 and January 2025, more than 265 lives have been lost to fuel tanker explosions in Nigeria. Guess what? Twice of that number have perished in the last 2 years. In more than half a decade, tragedy had feasted on many human bodies in many Nigerian states in their countless attempts to scoop fuel from overturned tankers. Ask yourself, is it worth the risk? The answer is a resounding no. Scooping fuel from an overturned petrol tanker is not just risky, it is downright suicidal. Petrol, diesel, kerosene, and gas are highly flammable on one spark and disaster strikes. Ignorance or hardship cannot justify putting your own life on the line to stay alive. Whenever you see an overturned tanker or people attempting to scoop fuel, flee immediately or alert the relevant authorities to secure the area and prevent a potential explosion. It is better to stay alive for your loved ones who depend on you than any way being otherwise. Remember, fuel scooping is deadly. Don't take the risk. Stay alive, be alive, and live well.
This message is from Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Let's be poor. Breathe. Don't suffocate them. We have that responsibility.
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ bí ọ̀rọ̀ epo àwọn á di 200 á di bàbá. Ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, a máa gbé wálẹ̀.
Very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room, live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Studio time check. It's 4 minutes past the hour of 4. And I want to specially welcome you. It's a new month. This is the first edition of the show for the month of June. So today is the second day of June 2025. And do you know what that means? Exactly 3 years today that a very famous Tɪᴜrūબ્ᴜ the declaration was made in Ogun State by then the presidential aspirant on the platform of the All Progressive Congress, eventually became the candidate of the party the convention months later. Now he's the serving president, the 10th democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I watched the video earlier today, about 10 minutes. Where he talked about the fact that for 25 years he's been serving the boys, he has experience, he's well educated, and how the former president Muhammadu Buhari approached him and requested that he should be on his ticket as his running mate. Then that was when the idea of the Muslim ticket thing came up. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said it in that famous declaration that, Atiku told him that the first time, Buhari told him that the first time He had another candidate. He didn't win the election as the running mate. The next one, he had Omoezuoke as his running mate. He didn't win the election. Evans Iwerem, he was listening of these running mates. And then even Pastor Tunde Bakare at some point and all of that. And then he told him, I said, don't worry, I got your back. Keep going. Man, Nisho, Awakbelue. And he told him, he said it. And the entire world was watching. Give me a summary of that famous speech where the entire Ały:l:kan, sloganeering for the 2023 election began. That declaration was made exactly 3 years ago today, the 2nd day of June 2022 in Ogun State. I remember when he said, and that was where the conversation changed. And from there were issues of tribal sentiment, there were issues of religious bias. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also talked about the role he played in making sure that Professor Osinbajo was the candidate was the vice presidential candidate. He said when he told Buhari that he couldn't deputize Buhari, that Buhari Kadoso, and then the third name on that list was Professor Yomi Osinbajo. At the end of the day, and then he said, no, that I will not give you 3 names, that you can add another 4 and choose the 4th, that I'm going to pick only 1 name. And that was how the immediate past vice president and the one-time Attorney General Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, it's everyone online. You can check it out, about 10 minutes. And then you understand how, of the show, the first for the week has been my quick stop to get a member of the academy, a professor actually, to guide us into our conversation on the show today. The 2 years of this administration, we looked at the midterm scorecard. What have they done in here? Pastor Tomi joined us on the show. I had Dr. Daniel Bwala, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper. Mr. Matthew Okodua was also here on the show. The one-time acting DJ of our consultants and all of that. So we had a series of people, join us to really open that conversation up and, present a scorecard for Nigerians to choose from. And on Friday, we decided to allow the people to talk to us. What did you think about this administration in the area of public infrastructures? How have they performed? In the area of security, how have they performed? In the area of food security, how have they performed? Election in 2023. But now, 4th day of the 3rd year of this administration. So if we've gone past the 2 years, if you follow football, I'm a very huge football fan, by the way, I understand that there's a reason why there's an half time. So if there's a 90 minutes, you have first 45 minutes. So oftentimes managers would have, some players will not even return for the second half with the team, depending on their performance. So is it time for the president to also sit back and look at his cabinet again? What are we doing in the area of public infrastructures? What are we doing in the area of food security? What's the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security doing in the area of security? What's the Minister of Defense, Minister of State for Defense? What are they doing in the area of education? What are they doing in education as well? Health, Professor Ali Pate, how good is he performing on the job? Is it time for the president to sit back and review some of his cabinet members and check who should step aside and allow that again to the politicking that would build up to the 2027 election? Whether the president would run or not, he has not declared, but from all of the handwritings we've been seeing on the wall, it looks like it's a matter of when and not if. About 2 weeks ago, the entire 22 progressive APC governors endorsed the president for a second term, and the entire National Assembly structure also endorsed the president for a second term. So it looks like it's a matter of when for the president to officially come out and declare his ambition to continue till 2031. Well, there's also been opposition voices raising their voices and speaking. I have 2 soundbites for you today. When I play those soundbites, by the time we're done, I will bring on my guest. I would have that lengthy conversation around where were we in 2 years, where should we be in 3 years, and how optimistic are we that the next one will. My name is Oʞayemi Akínyẹ̀dé. I would always run this show together every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. 90 straight minutes of conversation around politics, policies of government, governance itself, and so much more. Today on the show, my guest is Professor Chris Obyisi. He's a professor of human resource development and organizational transformation missionary from the prestigious University of Lagos. Each time I have guests from University of Lagos, like University of Lagos, and then there were a lot of issues. Oh, we can't take it. Malak sound too ras. He sound too this. And then the student union leaders of the school protested, and the president reversed his decision. I've never heard that kind of a thing before, that the president made the declaration, and this teacher was eventually named after the winner of the June 12, 1993 election, Moshood Kashima Wolawale Abiola. So, we're visiting University of Lagos today. Professor Chris Obyisi will be my guest, but there is one of those at the former Minister of Transportation. Now, let me give you a quick profile. Rotimi Amaechi celebrated, Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi celebrated his birthday over the weekend. But then, you need to go over his profile. He was a member of the Rivers State House of Assembly from 1999 till 2007. That's 8 years. In fact, he was Speaker. He was elected and was made Speaker immediately. So he was Speaker for 8 years. He was Governor of the state for another 8 years. That's 16 years at top PP. Joined the APC in 2014 after the formation of the APC. And once Buhari won the election, he became a minister. 7 years plus. He was a federal minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A super minister as that, Minister of Transportation. Well, he aspired to be the flag bearer of the APC in the last election, and he had less than 400 votes behind the eventual winner, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But Rotimi Amaechi is talking. He said he's hungry. And the question everyone is asking is this: also not declared his intention to resign from the All Progressive Congress like his former colleague in Kaduna had already done. He said that. Then take a listen to both of them. One would come back. Professor Chris Obyisi joins me live on the show, and then we'll have that conversation. Stick around with us.
South under me, we are from the north or south or east. What was important is how do you change this country? Growth finish at 6 a.m. It's okay. Sir, SSS does not arrest us. Each person go find your way back to BUK. We had it in a private house. I missed my way in Kano because I don't know where is BUK. I only saw somebody, a man from Kano. Where is BUK? The person took me to Kano, BUK. If it's not, they will kidnap me. Look, a ordinary northerner who is a Muslim has no problem with the ordinary southerner who is Christian. It is when it comes to election, they will tell you, so let them show you in Islam, where it says, don't say with a Christian. They cannot show you. They will only do that and say, this man is a Muslim, go for him. Now you have Muslim ticket. Let Muslim market come out now. It can't. We are all hungry. All of us are. If you're not hungry, I am. You may laugh. So for us, the opposition, if you want us to remove the man in power, we can remove him from this power. When we are students, we organized the Tʀᴏɪᴜ protest against Babangida. We organized protests against Buhari. And believe me, there was no north and south in the students. The protests that shut down ABU, University of Nigeria and Soka, University of Lagos and all that, the meeting took place in Kano. When we finished the meeting at night, everyone was told to go back to his school and mobilize young, handsome southerner, feeling free and eating the same kind of food. Today, we are poisoning the minds of our young men. Even them can't even liberate themselves. We were able to liberate ourselves. Whatever I am today in terms of radicalism is Dr. Chidamota. Because if you read sociology of literature, it's about Marxism, it's about socialism.
There are a number of you who are expert conspirators, who know how to assemble coalitions and then take over governments as you did to my party in 2015. And when you did so, particularly to a clueless government, so-called, now, 11 years down the line, we thought that there would have been no weaponization of poverty and that all the challenges of Nigeria would have been gone. But 11 years down the line, here we are, assembled to still bemoan the fate of our country. Conspirator, as some of you are, is at this time, shine your eyes. As you build coalitions and conspire, shine your eyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for staying with us. My guest is also, live on the phone. He's joining us. I decided to put him on so that he would listen to some part of the sound bite that I played. The first one was that of the former Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, super ministers under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, talking about Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi, talking about the fact that he, with the help of the people, can wrestle power, probably speaking hypothetically, because one would wonder, for someone that had been when he started holding political offices from 1999 of Nigerian State Houses of Assembly, when he was Speaker, I think he was one that handed over to Senator Sɪᴛᴜᴜ in Rivers State before he became the Minister for Transport. And so he's also coming out to say that let us rescue this country. So I'm wondering, who exactly are they rescuing this country from? The PDP, the party that made you Speaker, the party that made you Governor. You came into the APC after the formation of the APC, and then you were made a minister. So you've also been part of the old people that, in quotes, damaged the country. So if you say, let us rescue the country from, so I'm trying to understand, who are we rescuing this country from? Well, maybe my guest today, Professor Chris Obyisi, would help us understand some of these things. Well, like I said, Professor Chris is also the president of the Institute of Business Culture and Human Capacity Preservation, Nigeria, and also the Institute of Political to instill political literacy and decent political culture into the minds of Nigeria. Prof.
Once again,
it's always my pleasure to have you join us. Well,
God bless you.
Where do we start from? Today is the 4th day of the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, is also speaking against this government. The former governor of Kaduna State, the man that failed the screening to be minister, talking about Malam Nasir El-Rufai, resigned his membership of the APC. Now there is the conversation around Rotimi Amaechi, the man that had been at the top level of political conversation, Prof, from 1999 till now. He was a former speaker, 8 years speaker, 8 years governor, 7 years minister. And he says the coalition should rescue Nigeria from the people that have damaged this country. Wow, he had like 30 minutes. So I'm wondering, as an 8-year speaker, an 8 years governor, 7 years minister, should you even be proud to come out openly and say you were going to another country for medical checkup? You held political power for 24 years in coalition. We have, give and take 20 months, at the end of this year, it is going to be fully political, because by 2026, political parties will have their primaries, they have their conventions, they have their primaries, and by the end of next year, we'll have candidates of all of these political parties already. But now there is the coalition. Initially, it was tilting towards the SDP. Last week, we heard that it could be the ADC. There's the Peter Obi conversation. There's Alhaji Atiku Abubakar conversation. It's just been a whole lot of issue. Prof, how workable do you think the chances of a successful coalition? Because a successful coalition is a coalition that will take power from the ruling government.
What is happening in this country is tragedy. It is tragic, and it's not supposed to happen. Let me tell you, Rotimi Amaechi and his group, it is like Ketu calling a pot black. Ketu calling pot black. That's my point to Rotimi Amaechi. Secondly, my point or response to El-Rufai is he just finds the problem with Nigeria is the problem of selfishness. Selfishness as against common good. The same Rotimi Amaechi that say nothing. So please, let us not waste our time on these people. The truth is that we need a new mindset in this country. A new mindset and a new philosophy of life. Simple living and high thinking. Only Nigerians are discredited, and we shouldn't listen to them. Let me go straight to the two policies of this current administration. The first one is subsidy. Let me say the truth. Subsidy is good if you can remove the corruption in subsidy. All over the world, there is subsidy. Even in China, China gives about $400 million $400 billion industries are thriving in China because of subsidized goods to come down and help. That's why goods are cheaper in China than in Nigeria. That's why businesses are folding up. That's why industries are leaving Nigeria, going to other countries, because there is no energy, there's no financial support for our industry. And the tragedy is, the biggest tragedy in Nigeria, or contradiction, is industry. Without industries, no country will thrive. Unfortunately, Nigeria is doing well in banking rather than in industries. All over the world, it is the other way around. Industries will give money to the banks. In Nigeria, banks are giving money to the industries. What a contradiction. And that's why the country is not moving forward. Secondly, on the issue of subsidy, you see, if you don't want to manage the corruption in the subsidy and you decide to remove it, there's no problem. But before you remove subsidy, you must put in place the following stopgap will create more problems. The good intention of this government to remove subsidy, if they had, for example, they should have prepared Nigerians for this subsidy removal. Once you have not prepared your people and you remove subsidy, you are looking for disaster, which is happening. Particularly to the poor people. Very important. Number 3, you must provide social safety net for your people. That's number 4. Number 5, you must provide intervention. And number 7, you must have in a country where there is business as usual. And second to the last, there must be massive productivity to balance demand with supply. Any country that is not producing and you remove subsidy, it is a recipe for disaster. See, let me tell you, the truth is this: courage alone is not enough in putting up public policy on subsidy removal. That you have courage alone will not help you. You must put the above mentioned stopgap measure. Let us go to the second policy of this government. And we have to give credit to this president. This currency reform, one, Nigeria and humanity must praise him. You know why?
Talk to us,
Prof. He would have maintained the two exchange windows. But yes, and people and himself and his cronies will be making money for themselves. But he decided to collapse it. Unfortunately, the government committed the following errors. Before you can collapse the two windows, the parallel exchange rate, you must put in place the following intervention. You cannot float any country's economy without putting in place the following interventions, which we are going to quickly give to Nigerians. Number 1, before you float a country measures to begin to cut your coat according to your cloth, not according to your size. Begin to cut your coat according to your size before you float any country's currency. Number 2, you must start locally produced, locally made goods. And apart from mass local production, you must start mass consumption of what you are producing. For example, if Nigeria is not a very wicked country, how can you spend 150 million naira You can come to Unilag here. If you come to Unilag here, opposite the chapel in Unilag, there is a motor car manufacturing company called Nord. If you come and carry those vehicles, or you go to Nnewi and spend those hard-earned dollars, you pay in Naira and buy from Iṛsᴛ Motors. You save Nigeria millions of dollars, which you wasted. And, but they just don't want to do what they're supposed to do. Number 3, before you float any country's currency, you must start reducing the cost of governance. Start reducing the cost of governance. Because when you're reducing the cost of governance, that becomes a cost-cutting measure. Number 4, you must go after corrupt people and recover all the ill-gotten wealth from them and plug that money in health sector, education, manufacturing. If you don't do all this and you float your currency, dollarization of Nigerian economy, my brother, dollarization means that in this country, some people are using Naira to buy goods and services, while others are using dollar to buy goods and services in Nigeria. Some landlords are collecting money in dollar. If you go to some shopping malls in this country, people are paying in dollar. Some services are in dollar. I went to Dubai to do a training for NMPC 20 collecting instead of collecting dirham, their country's currency. That is patriotism. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, I remain depressed. You do not float a country currency. What you do, what this government should be doing, is guided. You guide your currency. You don't float it. You guide it. Particularly when you are not producing anything. It is when you produce a lot of things.
Prof, I mean, it's tough. Save Nigeria. And that is something I absolutely agree with, because we don't have aliens coming to govern us. We don't have, so we have Nigerians holding it down within both the public and the private sector. So I totally align with that line of thought, Prof. And only Nigerians can save Nigeria. But you've also broke it down a little. You've talked about industrialization, Prof. You talked about, the NSIPs. And I've always had my reservation about the NSIPs, Prof. But because you ask ourselves, do we even have a proper database to monitor some of these NSIPs? We run probably the most expensive NSIP on the Anchor Borrower scheme. We have the homegrown feeding program. We have all of those in this country. Maybe the early 2000s, maybe 2002 or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. And then some of the figures gave Kano maybe 14 million, Lagos 11 million. Look at the population of what we have right now, IPs, when we have a terrible data issue. How many are we in Lagos? How many are we in Nigeria? Or we just gone with the idea of, approximately 230 million people, approximately 240 million people. How many out of school children? How many adults? How many people living with disabilities? How many aged people do we have? How many ex-convicts do we have? How many young people do we have? We just assume and then we make laws. It's just like someone, Prof, going to the market to cook, and you just bought everything that you cook. You don't know the number of people you are cooking for. You don't know the ones that cannot take salt. You don't know the ones that don't take pepper. You just made the food and then assume that everybody will go with the flow. That's one of the problems we're having, Prof. Let me take you one after the other from some of these things you have said. You said cutting measures. which begins from cost of governance. Prof, this is a major problem that we are dealing with. But how do we start this issue of cutting down the cost of governance? If you say that we should grow Naira and use Naira, and our president is driving maybe a Chevrolet, or the speaker is driving a Land Cruiser, and you talked about Nerd, you talked about Innocent Motor, you talked about all of this, how do we push for this?
You see, what me and you are saying, and what average Nigerians are, 1990s, late Dr. Tᴡɪᴛᴛᴇʀ late 1990s, himself and Christopher Colade Cadbury, they started using sorghum. Sorghum, and that singular effort of homegrown solutions saved Nigeria millions of dollars. Why can't we go in that path? Do you know that after the Second World War, Japanese and Chinese products were rejected all over the world? What did they do? They introduced the concept of quality cycles or total quality management, whereby any product coming out of Japanese products and Chinese products are making waste all over the world. Why can't we start? It goes on, it will become better. Rome was not the president. This current president, that's May 29, 2023. I will start using everything made in Nigeria. What I wear, what I eat, what I drive, except maybe possible exception of drugs or something, and other things, they must be made in Nigeria. The National Assembly, the Vice President, the governors, everybody will toe the same line, and Nigerians will follow them, because leadership, that's part of cost-cutting measures. There is a commission or Rosaya committee that restructured the civil service. Why is deputy this, special this, special this? Unfortunately, we heard that a university in I think Akwa Ibom, the union president appointed
assembly, or perhaps
that is what we are saying. Because whatever you're doing, people are seeing you, and they will think that what you're doing is the best, and they will follow country. Look at what is happening now in my house, because in Unilag here we are 1,000 naira every 4 days on electricity. So I will tell my wife and my children, we have to make adjustments. In other words, in Nigeria today, light, the meter is tough. Transportation that will cost you 20,000 is now nearly 50,000. The hotels where you stay in Abuja, 10,000 before, is now 20, 30, 40,000. And as you drive, we used to buy food 1,200 naira.
Prof,
for you to buy a meal,
5,000 naira now.
Yes, 5,000 to 6,000 naira. No common Nigerian, no common man can survive. Things are tough, and the data. See, let me tell you, the problem, you need data. The problem we're having with data in Nigeria is that there is corruption in data. There is manipulation in data to serve selfish interests, and the country is in serious trouble. If we will say the truth, give adequate data, the population of the country, people have, of course, the country will grow. See, there is a serious problem that we don't know. Tax reform by this president is another way of boosting business in the Taiwo Yedele committee have done their job. given to the president. President supported him. They moved it to National Assembly. They have approved it. There is another monster. Do you know the monster? Let me tell you. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. NASIMA, some years ago, informed the whole world, that the number of unapproved taxis in Nigeria is more than 25 unapproved taxis in Nigeria, different from the approved one by the law. In other words, when the legally approved taxis in Nigeria will come out now, the state government, local government, and Nigeria, because of impunity, will come up with some unapproved taxis and be taxing Nigerians and killing businesses. They have not even looked at that. Unfortunately, the law enforcement will not have the teeth to stop them. Nigeria's problem is multifaceted. There is a spiritual angle that we are forgetting.
Well, Prof, let's now come back to, what we actually set out to talk about today. Because if we go on this way, we can spend the next 3 hours identifying these problems. And I like the fact that as Prof is identifying the problems, is also side by side, putting up solutions to this problem. Like I said, Prof is not just preservation Nigeria, and also the Institute of Political and Development Culture Nigeria. So these are obviously two institutions, human preservation, building the culture of political and development in Nigeria as well. A lot of people have said we have too many accidental politicians in this country. Some people that became politicians by virtue of being loyal to someone, or by the virtue of, the zoning favoring them, or by the virtue of just being opportunistic in that space, that we actually don't have a lot of people that are groomed in the act of public governance. And that's exactly one of the problems that is leading us to this issue where we are right now. That is why someone that had been two-time governor, two-time speaker, 7 years minister will come out and say he's hungry because he's just left office 2 years ago, and all of a sudden, Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi, do we have in Rivers State where he was speaker? How many workers, minister? These are the questions we should ask ourselves. But hey, that's a talk for another day. Prof, on Thursday, it was exactly 2 years that this administration was sworn in. We've always talked about, the 29th of May, 2023, the subsidy is gone conversation. But on Thursday last year, it was exactly 2 years, 24 months that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had been sworn in as the 10th democratically elected president of Nigeria. In fact, today also made it exactly 3 years that the very famous Emilokan sloganeering was birthed in Abeokuta, Ogun State. We'll talk about that. But we've also assessed the 2 years of this administration, Prof. I'm sure you've read articles. I'm sure transportation, security, healthcare, food security, those were the issues they promised to tackle. Now let's close the chapter of the 2 years. Prof, we're moving into another 2 years. Think what of the people that he has around him. Because if you're a lover of football, Prof, I want to assume you, once in a while stumble, or maybe Chelsea or Man U, you know that during halftime, it's a time for the coach to go in and talk to his players. Hey, you're not continuing the match, you've been messing up, you are trying, but you can do better. Are we due for a cabinet reshuffle, Prof?
Okay, before I answer that question, I want to say something. Nigeria is under the heavy yoke of poor political culture. There is no political culture in Nigeria. And if we don't have a political culture of development and political culture, look at what happened in UK. When the Conservative Party, you did not see Conservative Party members leading Conservative Party and moving. When Trump won election in US, didn't moving to Republican? No, because They have political ideology. They have sustainable political culture. Unfortunately, in Nigeria and in Africa, we don't have. You look at Professor Patrick Lumumba, a fantastic development expert, a Kenyan, a patriotic African. Human resource, and Nigeria is poor, and Africa is poor. He is asking, why is it that in Zambia, all these mineral resources are in Zambia, and lithium and prices of all these things are more expensive in that country and cheaper in Europe? We have what it takes to make chocolate, to make copper, to make vehicles. The raw materials are in our own continent, and we are poor, and they are very expensive in our country, and it's cheaper in those countries that are coming to mine it from our own country. We need to look inwards to develop our continent. But let me go to your answer to your question. Can you remind me the point you raised?
Okay, Prof, I said that we've looked at the midterm assessment. We look at the scorecard of this administration in different areas. I've looked at the area of power. We've looked at the area of agriculture, food security. We're due for a cabinet reshuffle because we have people surrounding the president that are supposed to be asked that the president should sit back and review the people that are working with him.
Yes. Let me say this. They are putting in place. But this is that we, at the end of the day, assist the country. But there are certain measures they should have taken for the success of this government. But let me answer your question. Rome was not built in a day. In the area, there are some areas that the government policies are coming up. If you go to Minister of Interior and some other areas, they are doing well. What this government can do, this Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not pronounce. It's about legacy. His legacy. In other words, if I'm this president, I will concentrate on governance. And in fact, I will go to the opposition. You have fantastic Yoruba people in the opposition, Igbos in the opposition, Hausas in the opposition, and bring them to form part of your government. Run for a second time based on your verifiable achievement. Your achievement should speak for you. You know why some Nigerians supported him? They say what he did when he was Lagos State Governor. That's why some people supported him. He should eschew propaganda so that by 2027, Nigerians will say, with only 10, some people are deceiving him. I know that there are some good hands in this current government that are doing well. So what he can do, let him find those ones, retain them, and then bring in fresh blood to assist him to finish this race.
Okay, Prof, let's digress a little bit.
Yes.
And I'm going to be asking you on the issue of the alignment and the coalition. We're taking it back again. There's been statement credited to Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje, the national chairman of the APC, saying that too much cooks usually spoils the soup, that too much political parties spoil governance. I've also seen President Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that we're practicing constitutional politics and, the harvesting and then the decamping. So you're saying that If his party controls the entire country, how is that a problem? So there's been conversation around our democracy tilting into a one-party state. In 2019, we had over 70 political parties on the ballot. In 2023, we had about 18, with 11 of them fielding presidential candidates. And then we eventually knew where it went to. Should we be worried with the wave of decamping that seems to be going one way? If you read about a decamping today, whether as a senator, a reps member, a political appointee, a governor, is also always going into the All Progressive Congress. Should you be worried, Prof?
No. What is happening? I see Gandhi J. These people are, when a devil is quoting the Bible, you have to be worried. You have to be worried. Let me tell you the truth. If you look at Nigerians are wiser now. Look at APC lost in Lagos State now. APC lost in Katsina. In some other states, presidents should not depend on them, believing that because the crowd is moving to APC, that will guarantee his re-election. No way. Nigerians are wiser now. When 2027 comes, Nigerians will shine their eyes and vote. However, moderator, I don't think whether I should say this. If the lamp of justice continue to go out in the darkness in the judiciary as it is today, election 2027, forget. So what I'm saying is this. We want well-meaning Nigerians with honor. Let them not bother. Nigeria shouldn't bother themselves. Let them pray and talk to the president. Let him focus on governance. All these crowds, this is a crowd of selfish people. They don't have electoral value. The problem is this, some of them are decamping because they know that INEC might favor them, judiciary might favor them because of the ruling party. That's the truth. But they will not tell you this truth. So I would appeal to the president to concentrate on performance.
Okay, in case you're just tuning in, you're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. And then, like I said, if there's no other place in this world, they said when wisdom ends, knock on the door of the ivory tower. So I would say to check in within the academia today, and the University of Lagos had always been my go-to place. So I have Professor Chris Obyisi with me live via phone, actually. And he's a professor of human resource development and organizational transformation missionary from the prestigious University of Lagos. And on the show today, we're looking at 2 years and beyond, priorities and responsibilities for the renewed hope agenda under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thursday last year was 29th of May, and it made it exactly 2 years that this administration are taking flights. Then there's been a whole lot of issues. Prof had, broken everything down for us today. The floating of the Naira, was it done at the right time? Yes. Was it done with the right indices? No. Prof actually told us that things should have been put in place, encourage mass local production, mass local consumption, go after corrupt people and recover stolen wealth, stop dollarization of Naira. He talked about all of that. And he also said something really key, that courage alone is not enough on the issue of the subsidy. That there's one thing to announce the removal of subsidy, there's another thing to have the political willpower to actually make sure that whatever it is that is coming out of the subsidy removal is being used to. So look into another issue, which is the conversation around food security in Nigeria. Prof, I've been very privileged to travel, a few little states across this country. And I will tell you for a fact, even during the dry season, you still travel some part of this country, and then you'll be so marveled at how much of fertile lands, virgin lands, greenery that we have scattered everywhere. Why are we in this situation, Prof? Why is it difficult for an average Nigerian to afford the basic? Your minimum wage cannot even buy a bag of rice. Let's talk of a bag of beans. How affordable is a bulb of onion, Prof? Why are we having this issue? Is it lack of political willpower, or we're not just looking inwards, Prof? Talk to us about that.
No, it's suffering in the midst of plenty. How can you explain it? It's no harbor. It's header, conflict. Do you know that in many parts of the country, bandits, therefore farmers cannot go to farm safely? Let government tackle this conflict. Let them be honest and tackle this conflict. Let our farmers go to the farm. In fact, every Nigerian should become a farmer. Even myself, even as a professor in Unilag, I'm now a farmer. Because we need food. Without food, you cannot do anything. Manage conflict well. You see, we have no business being poor. Locally made rice is expensive. Foreign rice is expensive. How can you explain it? We want to beg this government. Let them lower interest rates. They must lower interest rates to help people to borrow and have more money to spend. They should put more money in the economy. Because if everybody becomes a farmer, there will be food. Once you have food, some of these problems will not be there. See, let me tell you, some of the anger coming from Nigerians criticizing this government is trying in many areas, but because it's not trickling down to the poor Nigerians, because they're hungry. Can we imagine that a crate of eggs is about 6,000, 7,000, 5,000? Some Nigerians cannot even afford a half loaf of bread. The information going all over the country now, in many parts of the country, is that a loaf of bread now, they will cut it into 3 or 4 and then sell it to people. Can you imagine?
Prof, sorry to hold your thought. I'm sure you know that even tubers of yam are being sold that way as well.
Yes. Not only bringing tubers of yam and other items. I will be 50 years July this year. When I was in secondary school, I was hearing 3,000 kilowatts, megawatts of electricity. When I was in secondary school, at home as a boy, in Enugu State, 3,000. Now we soon be 60 years. And I'm still hearing the same 3,000 or even less. In 1990, I was reading for my doctoral, I was writing my doctoral thesis in India in 1990. We decided to go to Dubai, 2 hours flight from Bombay to Dubai. When we got to Dubai in 1990, we saw Arab traders. We bought gold. We bought wristwatches. And we came back. By 2014, we went to Dubai again on an invitation from NMTC on a training program. When we got to Dubai, wow. Highly transformed country compared to 1990 when I went there. In other words, the United Arab Emirates has a developmental culture. In 4 days, because of the concept of work-life balance, we need to commune with nature. We decided to go on a sea cruise. We went on a sea cruise for 3 hours. When we landed, they informed us, to our greatest shock, that water was man-made. It was artificial. They brought the water there. They took us to the only 7-star hotel in the world. is in Dubai. In other words, the development was massive. And former President Olusegun Obasanjo said, as a military head of state, just facilities for the country, as a military head of state, coming back as a civilian head of state, not a single shipping line, not a single airline. What does this show to us? Nigeria does not have a developmental culture. And we can't continue like this. We cannot. We cannot.
Okay, Prof, I think we would have to open the phone lines, and let me beg you for something, so that you can hear what the people are saying. If you have questions to answer as well, I would love to keep you on standby so that I can pick calls, and also, so that I can respond to some of the questions or comments that the people may want to ask you, if you don't mind, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, you're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. I'm seeing all of your messages on Facebook. We'll come back and take some of those. It's a Monday edition of the show. And like I said, we're looking at the post second year, or let me say post midterm scorecard of this administration. And we're looking at the third year. The third year journey began on Friday, the 30th of May, 2025. And the question everyone is asking is this: what more can this administration offer in terms of quality development, in terms of proper governance, and some of those that they promised Nigerians as a build-up to the 2023 election? And my guest on the show today has been the Professor of Human Resource Development and Organizational Transformation Missionary from University of Lagos. Is Professor Chris Oභɪsɪ. He's been my guest on the show. He's also the president of the Institute of Business Culture and Human Capital. Both of them are registered in Nigeria. And so you heard what he said. We don't have political culture. Let me hold your thoughts and take your comment. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is Tဃᴇ
Mr. Tဃᴇ Joshua, good to have you join us.
In fact, your guest, Prof, I greet you. Good afternoon.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah, you really struck me with your last point where you said you went by and again you went of recent again. And this is killing. You understand that for how many years? We witnessed in this country over and over. They are killing. But the moment they step down from power,
they see all the solutions.
We see them writing letters.
They are selfish people. Don't mind them. They are selfish people. They are deceiving themselves. God will deal with them. Don't mind them. They are selfish people.
Mr. Tဃᴇ, okay. Let me also pick more calls. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening, Pastor Ambrose.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to have you join us on the show today. Hello,
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. Let's go on.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I am with you 100% on Rotimi Amechi. I don't believe in him, and he should not tell Nigerians anything. There is nothing he's telling us now that is new. He has been in governance. What has he been able to do? And he's telling us that he's hungry. What kind of hunger is that? Hunger to return back to. All he needs to do is to bring and implement policies that will write his name in the book of history.
Finish. His legacy.
Yes.
He has nothing to lose. That man has nothing to lose.
And that was what Fasola did.
He has made it for himself.
That was what Fasola did during his tenure. Fasola was not interested in second term. He wanted to write his name in the book of history. And when it was time, negotiators said he must come back.
Can we do that conversation? I'm preparing a special for it.
Okay,
Let's wait till we do politics on Wednesday.
Let me quickly round. Begin to patronize made in Nigeria product. Even made in Nigeria hospital, all the facilities in France, they can bring them down to Aso Rock. Make Aso Rock one of the best clinics in the world. You see, but They just want to continue to pauperize the poor. And unfortunately, it was the one that said let the poor breathe. No light, no road, no electricity, no food, insecurity everywhere. Okay, I don't know how we'll get out of this.
Well,
but
hopefully.
It's Nigeria versus the people. It's Nigerians versus APC in 2020.
It is the situation room. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Maoga.
You're welcome.
Waiting for studio. If you look at Tinubu antecedent, you will know that he doesn't have that charismatic mind. If you look at him, if somebody like wants to be like Mandela, as he comes, he will reduce the expenses of government. Not that he will come and increase it double. Now he came and buy a new jet and go and buy a yacht. Go buy this one. Go buy this one. Somebody that need to developmental this is different head. And immediately he come, he will reduce the government, the expenses of government. Then he will make legacy for himself. But if you look at him, he doesn't have it at all.
Thank you very much. We also have messages on Facebook, but I can still. Ooh. Hello. Okay, let's relax. So many people want to call at the same time. Let's just relax. Let's relax. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay.
Thank you very much. This is Madam Bello Usman. I am calling for redeeming.
Let's do this in 1 minute.
Thank you very much. You see, my advice for Mr. President, if he actually has the love of Nigeria in his heart, he should please give the Minister of Work and Housing to the former CBN governor, Mr. Emefiele. Because, yes, I want to ask, yes, Mr. President, if Mr. President love Nigeria, he should give Emefiele the Minister of Work and Housing, because many criminals in this country, none of them have invested in this country like the way Emefiele invested in this country. So he should give the Emefiele.
I don't know. Maybe that's some sarcasm, but hey, let me also hold on to that.
Of course, it's sarcasm.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, you wanted to ask the prof the question the other time.
Mr. Gege, please.
Why are our politicians behaving this way? Is it because they spend too much money on elections and they feel like they should look for a way to recover their money, or what? What will you recommend?
Okay, thank you very much.
You know, it's a selfishness. They don't believe in common good. It's selfishness. And that's not good for the country. In fact, please, I don't want to forget to make this point.
Please go on, Prof.
We cannot afford both houses in this country. We can modify our political system to suit our own reality. Let us make legislature part-time, and only those people who have jobs can be doing part-time there. Not all these people who are there now. Because how can somebody be receiving 34 million, 30 million a month and still saying that he doesn't have money? And somebody receiving 70,000 minimum wage? It doesn't make sense.
Okay, let me squeeze in one more call, then we'll go on Facebook. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Okway.
You're welcome.
Yes, Aďisuba.
Good to have you join us.
From our leader, very fast. Which touches me. Do you know, your guest refer to the movement to Dubai when, with Obasanjo. You see, we have been in this calamity, right? I consider that from the section of our democracy. Look at the state of Nigeria. Look at what we have then, before democracy. Look at where we are today. So it is like a kind of continuous substitute from our leaders. Obasanjo, Yaradua, Jonathan, Buhari. Look, most of the things we have, where are they today? So it is themselves. You understand? So, and that is why I continuously say, now somebody said they want the president to write his name in Guinness Book of Records. By what means? Let's ask ourselves. When the economic capacity of Nigeria has been jeopardized, is he going to do it by mouth within 2 years? How is he going to make it? I know some of the state before Tinubu came to power. Some of the state cannot pay to pay salary of the civil servants. We are all seeing it. So
let me allow Prof. Respond to some of the issues raised as a wrap up the show, Prof.
Yes. The president can still do more. Today, Igbo people will say that today, means today is early to produce. It should lower interest rates so that people can borrow at a cheaper rate and have more money to spend. Please, unless you're doing even 419, even all these scammers, you can't be taking interest at 30%, 29%, 34%. What are you selling? You can't survive. This government should embark on tax-cutting measures to the critical industries and give subsidy in transportation, because transportation costs will affect everything in the country. Invest more in education, health sector. Invest in human capital to boost productivity so that every Nigerian, rather than looking for jobs, will be creating jobs. Entrepreneurship, infrastructural development, the build more good roads, the Lagos Calabar economy. Every bus stop, you have people selling all manner of things on the road. Jobs will come in. It will reduce unemployment in the country. There are things to do. I'm not joking. They should continue the regulatory reforms. Tax reform is a continuous process, but they must stop unapproved taxes. Very important. Then continue with the housing for all by the year 2000. That was the slogan when I was in secondary school at Aba and Abuke. Housing for all by the year 2000.
The poor are still waiting for the houses now.
You can see. They're still waiting for it. How many years after?
Thank you, Prof.
Years after.
Thank you, Prof. Let me read through some of the messages before I let you go. I'll not tell you, Tᴏɪᴜ Michael says, my greetings to Prof. Chris Obyisi. He was my former lecturer at the University of Lagos. It's so unfortunate that with this country, the only way out is to declare capital punishment for whoever is caught in the sharp practices, irrespective of his or her ranking or position. If we don't kill corruption, especially that of our political office holders, corruption will kill this country. But I can't read it. Kọ́láwọlé Kazeem. Every Nigerian cannot be a farmer. I'm sure Prof is a professor of economics. The problem of agriculture in Nigeria is not lack of enough farmers. It is a productivity problem. Imagine, for instance, America has only 2 million farmers, yet they are so productive they can feed the country of 300 million people and still export. Okay, Prof, let me let you go. Thank you so much, Prof, for finding time out of your very busy schedule to be with us on the show today. I'm super grateful, and I'll keep in touch with you.
It's my pleasure, God bless you.
So maybe
thank you for what you're doing for Nigerian humanity. God bless you.
So maybe the next time you join us, Prof, we'll look at the citizen angle of development, and we'll
Nigerians are destroying.
Prof,
I'm telling you,
we'll have that conversation very soon.
Nigerians are themselves worst enemy also. So our problem is not only of leadership, it is also of followership.
Thank you very much, Prof. I'll need to let you go. I'll keep in touch with you, and then we'll have to reschedule that conversation. And then we've looked at the next chapter, Sports Cruise on mainland 98.3 FM. We have a new Champions League winner. We'll talk about all of that and more. My name is Oʞgbɛ̀yɛmí Akinade. Stick around. I'll be back by 6. The next stop is mainland.